Hi Rail Zone viewers. Today I'm at a resort. A pretty calm, serene, elegant, neat, clean resort in the suburbs of Bengaluru. And I don't need to pay anything to enter this resort. It's a free entry. It's free of cost. Doesn't it look amazing and well maintained? Looks pretty premium with a lot of shrubs, well-maintained garden, pretty spacious, neat, litter-free. And what if I told you I can spot trains from this resort? You won't believe it, right? Okay, what can I show you to make you believe that I can spot trains from this resort? Okay, so here you can see the catenary poles. You can see the OHE poles here. And just look at these beautiful flowers, a lot of greenery. The air is so pure and it feels so positive as I walk around this place. So, jokes apart, would you believe it? This is a railway station. This is a railway station in the suburbs of Bengaluru. And yes, this is the Kempegowda International Airport Halt railway station. Why is this station so different? Why is it so clean? Why is this station so well maintained? I will let you know in a while. So here I enter inside the Halt station. The station is also wheelchair friendly. It has a ramp as well as a staircase. This video is a continuation of my previous video where I had posted the video of Vande Bharat Express skipping this very same Halt station at night. And most of you were asking whether trains halt at this railway station. Yes, daily 3 pairs of trains halt at this railway station, and these are only the MEMU trains. These are only the suburban MEMU trains running between Bengaluru, Yeshwanthpur, Yelahanka, up to Chikbalapur and Kolar and Bangarpet. So yes, daily 3 pairs of trains halt at this railway station. And I'm adding the details of the trains and the timings below that halt at this railway station. And here you can see the Kolar Bengaluru city. The MEMU train is arriving at the airport halt station, and a lot of people get down at the station. Not everyone are going to the airport. From here, 500 meters is the highway. So from here, people take the BMTC buses to go to various locations around this area. And for those who are working in the airport, exclusively for the airport staff, and if anyone has a air ticket, if you have an air ticket, if you have a flight booking and you have a ticket, you can board the shuttle bus. So here you can see this is the shuttle bus. So this bus will take you directly to the Kempegowda International Airport, which is about 4 kilometers away from this Halt station. Because right after the station is the compound of the airport, and there is a runway. That's the reason it's almost 4 kilometers away to the terminal, to Terminal 1 and Terminal 2. So this feeder bus will directly take you to the terminal free of cost. You don't need to pay anything for the feeder bus as long as you have a air ticket. For the people who work in the airport, this feeder bus is free of cost. And this feeder bus arrives just before the arrival of the train at this Halt station. So this is pretty helpful for those who wish to go to the airport. However, you can check these timings of these trains, and if it suits your boarding time, then you can probably board these trains from either Bengaluru or Yeshwanthpur and directly go to the airport. And if you want to board a train from here, you have to book the unreserved ticket using the Rail One app. There is no paper ticket or a counter ticket available here. Though there is a ticket counter, there is no ticket vendor. They do not give paper tickets at this station. You have to scan the QR code at the counter and book your tickets on the Rail One app. Using the Rail One app, you can book the unreserved ticket and board this MEMU train from here. And some of you were asking, what is a halt station? So a halt station is a station where there is only a main line platform. So if it is a single line, it's just one single line and a platform. And if it's a double line, there will be platforms on both the sides, on both the tracks, but it's only a main line. There are no loop lines in this station. So there is no interlocking or any signaling. There is no station master, and it's just the main line. So that is defined as a halt station. And this station is categorized technically as a non-interlocking block station, NIBS, non-interlocking block station. So here there is no station master, there is no any flagman, there is no any Indian Railway staff at this halt station. So that's why it's called as a halt. Ajni WAP7 30263 with the 12683 route diverted Ernakulam SMVT Bengaluru Tri-Weekly Express. So this train was diverted from Bangarpet junction via Kolar, Chikkaballapur, Yelahanka, and it will reach SMVT via Chennai. So this is the first time around 12 trains were diverted via this route in a span of 8 hours from night 10 p.m. to morning 6 a.m. 12 trains. This is a historical moment for this line. And coming back to why this station is so well maintained and clean. So here is the answer. Before that, there was a demand for a suburban rail connectivity to the Kempegowda International Airport because the airport is situated in Devanahalli under the Bengaluru rural district. It's way far from the city limits, and people had to spend a lot of time traveling on road. Either they have to spend on cabs or they have to rely on the BMTC Volvo buses to commute to the airport. And it was taking several hours to commute from different parts of Bengaluru due to the heavy traffic. 22931 Busawal WAP4 calling the 11006 Puducherry Dadar Express, route diverted via Kolar, Yelahanka, Chikkaballapur. There was a lot of discussions going on with the central government, with the Indian Railways, with the state government, and also with the airport authority. And finally, the Namma Metro Blue Line was sanctioned. It will be connecting directly to the Kempegowda International Airport. Therefore, a suburban railway station through the Indian Railway network was dropped. The Namma Metro construction is going to take a longer time, and it's only expected to be completed in 2028. In the meantime, the Indian Railways and the Airport Authority came to a decision of constructing a halt station on the existing railway track, that is on the existing Yelahanka-Kolar line, without extending the track, altering the track alignment. The Kempegowda International Airport constructed this halt station at a cost of rupees 3 crores. And the land was provided by the Indian Railways. So they constructed on the railway land. This railway station was opened to public in January 2021. So ever since the railway station was open to public, this railway station is maintained by the Kempegowda International Airport. Royapuram WAP7 39057 with 18637 Hatia SMVT Bengaluru Weekly Express. Again, it was route diverted via Bangarpet, Kolar, Yelahanka, and it goes via Chennai and reaches SMVT Bengaluru. So this railway station is safeguarded by the airport security. There is always a security person deployed at the railway station to safeguard the premises, and there is a security guard 24/7 at this railway station, and the airport security keeps patrolling this premises 24/7, and also this station is under CCTV surveillance, and public are only allowed to enter this station whenever there is a train arriving. Otherwise, they do not allow anyone inside this railway station. Vijayawada WAP7 39155 with 12027 Chennai Central KSR Bengaluru Shatabdi Express, route diverted from Bangarpet via Kolar, Yelahanka. And even when I came to capture the Vande Bharat Express at night, I was asked several questions before I was permitted to capture trains at this railway station. So this is where the impact, This is where the huge difference and the impact is created. So I told you I'm at a resort in the beginning of the video. This is how well the airport authorities are maintaining the station. I really wish the Indian Railways shows the same amount of dedication in keeping their railway stations in top notch. Let's take the world-class SMVT railway station, which was built similar to an airport. The railways spent several hundred crores in building the SMVT railway station in Bengaluru, promising world-class amenities and airport-like standards. At the beginning, the station did look like an airport. It was designed similar to the Bengaluru International Airport. It also had a huge garden with a lot of trees, with a lot of plants. Within 6 months, we started seeing the railway station's cleanliness degrading to the lowest. People started urinating on the railway station premises. People started painting the railway station with pan and gutka stains. There was absolutely no civic sense, complete lack of civic sense. People used to litter. So the cleanliness of the station just degraded. One of the main reasons why this happens is because the Indian Railways is spending crores, several thousands of crores in redeveloping the old station buildings into Amrit Bharat stations, building the stations with the modern day architecture, design, modern day amenities to cater to the modern lifestyle of the daily commuters. But what is lacking is the Indian Railways fails to deploy ample security personnel at the railway stations. "22313 Vijayawada VAP4 calling the route diverted 22617 Tirupati-SMVT Bengaluru Intercity Express." The Indian Railways fails to invest in ample housekeeping and cleaning staff at the railway stations. The Indian Railways fail to monitor the security and the surveillance system of the railway stations. The Indian Railways fails to maintain the law and order and discipline at the railway stations. They aren't strict when it comes to handling crowd management and the people who break the rules, such as littering, dirtying the railway stations. The Indian Railways must impose heavy fines at people who litter at the railway station, be it the passenger, the public, or the railway staff or the railway contractor staff, whoever it is. Heavy fines must be levied against violators. All these stringent measures can really bring a change towards maintaining high standards of cleanliness on the railway premises. BRC VAP7 37815 calling the 12607 Chennai Central KSR Bengaluru Lalbagh Superfast Express route diverted via Bangarpet, Yelahanka. I really wish the Indian Railways studies how the airport authority maintains the airports neat and clean, and the same model is replicated to all the railway stations so that every railway station can look like a resort, like how I showed you in the beginning of the video. I hope we see a change in the Indian railway stations in the future. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do let me know what measures and actions the Indian Railways should take in order to keep their railway stations with high standards of cleanliness. I would like to give you a short history about this Kolar line. This line starts at Bangarpet Junction and terminates at Yelahanka Junction. This is a single line section and it's a branch line, or you can call it a loop line, because the shorter route is already there between Bangarpet to Bengaluru via Krishnarajpuram, where all the Chennai trains take that route. But the shorter route between Bengaluru to Bangarpet is only 70 kilometers. However, this line is 166 kilometers from Bengaluru to Bangarpet via Kolar. So you must be wondering, why was this line constructed in a very circuitous form? So to know the history of this line, we need to go back to the year 1909. The purpose of constructing this line was the Kolar district and the surrounding areas were rich in agricultural products, and they wanted to ship their agricultural produces to Bengaluru market. So back then in 1909, the only means of transportation was on the bullock carts. There was no any road transportation available back then. So that was the main reason for constructing a railway line from Bangarpet via Kolar, Yelahanka to Bengaluru. So in the year 1909, the Kolar District Board decided to construct a narrow gauge line. So initially the funds were provided by the Kolar District Board. In 1909, the construction started, and the first 17 kilometers from Bangarpet to Kolar was completed in 1913. So it was 17 kilometers of narrow gauge track, and there was a narrow gauge train running between Bangarpet to Kolar. And by 1916, they completed 102 kilometers of this narrow gauge track, and the track reached Chikbalapur. And by 1918, the complete section from Chikbalapur, Yelahanka, Bengaluru city was completed. So from 1918 onwards, the Bangarpet, Kolar, Yelahanka, Bengaluru city narrow gauge line was fully functional, and narrow gauge trains with steam engines were running on this section. So by 1980, the road transportation had drastically improved, and people used to bring their agricultural produces through city buses. So relying on the rail transportation drastically reduced. So the railways decommissioned the narrow gauge line between Bengaluru and Yelahanka, and this narrow gauge line was running from Yelahanka to Bangarpet from 1980 to 1995, and the steam engines were replaced by rail buses. So only rail buses were running on this section until the year 1995. And finally, in the year 1995-1996, the narrow gauge line was closed because the project Unigauge was declared, and all the narrow gauge and meter gauge lines were bound for gauge conversion into broad gauge. So the broad gauge conversion work started in 1995, and it went on till 2013. So in 1997, the Bangarpet Kolar section reopened in broad gauge. That was the first 17 kilometers of broad gauge. And a broad gauge railway bus was running on this section. And in 1998, they completed the Yelahanka Dodajala broad gauge section. And in 2004, Dodajala to Chikbalapur broad gauge was completed, and trains were running from Bengaluru to Chikbalapur. And it took forever to complete the Chikbalapur to Kolar. That was the disconnected portion. So by 2013, the full line was converted to broad gauge. And they were running demo trains. And by 2023, the electrification of this single line was completed, and presently 3 pairs of MEMU trains are running 6 days a week except Sundays. So this is the short history about this branch line. Originally, there were 6 pairs of trains, that is 6 trains up and 6 trains down, were halting at this airport halt station when the station was open to traffic in 2021. 3 pairs of trains between Bengaluru Cantonment to Chikbalapur were running. These were MEMU trains. The South Western Railways cancelled these trains due to the quadrupling works that started at Bengaluru Cantonment by Apnahalli. And also, the Chennai railway station was also completely shut down for redevelopment works and also for remodeling of the Chennai yard. Therefore, due to a lot of civil works going on en route this line, they cancelled the 3 pairs of MEMU trains that were running between Bengaluru Cantonment to Chikbalapur. Otherwise, the frequency of MEMU trains to the airport would have been much higher. So the blue line Namma Metro, which starts from Central Silk Board to Kiarpuram to Hebbal, and it will provide access to the Kempegowda International Airport. And the blue line metro will directly go underneath the Terminal 1. So it will be an underground railway station, and it will go directly underneath the Terminal 1. However, the blue line metro will only be completed in January 2028. So that is the estimated timeline as of now. Deadlines may exceed, we never know. So once the metro is completed, it'll be a big game changer for airport commuters. They can directly hop into the metro, and a blue line metro will be having interchange points, one at Nagwara with the pink line, one at Kearpuram with the purple line, and one at the central Silkwo. So there will be 3 interchange points on the blue line once it's fully commissioned, and this will be a total game changer. So the people of Bengaluru and people who travel to and fro from Bengaluru will have direct metro access to the Kempegowda International Airport, and this will only turn into reality in 2028. And the people of Chikbalapur and Kolar district are also demanding for express trains on this route because they are deprived of trains on this section. There is a long pending demand for a daily train from Kolar to Mysuru, from Kolar to Tirupati, from Bengaluru to Tirupati via Chikbalapur, Kolar, and also there is a demand for a train to Hyderabad via this route. And there was a long distance train running between Yeshwantpur and Hazrat Nizamuddin for a very short time, and that train was cancelled due to this circuitous route of 166 kilometers from Yeshwantpur to Bangarpet. So hopefully in future we can expect some express trains to run on this route now that this line is also electrified. And there is also a plan to lay a bypass track from Halt railway station, which is the next station after Yelahanka junction. They want to connect a bypass line from Halt to Rajan Kunte, so that this line directly gets connected to the Hindupur line. Therefore, free trains can be directly bypassed from Bangarpet to Hindupur without touching Yelahanka or without having to enter the busy Whitefield Krishnarajapuram Channasandra section. So there is a plan to lay this bypass line, and the land acquisition works are in progress. Hopefully this will help in running long distance express trains on this Kolar line in the future. That's all from this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the Rail Zone. I'll get back to you with yet another interesting video. Until then, it's bye from Harris. Take care. Bye-bye.